That's right, live from the 215. It's WHIP, Philly's number one college radio station. And you're tuned into the newest installment of The Wake Up Call. That's right, from 9 to 11, we got you covered on all your morning news, everything else, all the fun stuff going around the city of brotherly love. For Taylor Allen, I'm E. White. Taylor, how you feel today? Good?
I'm feeling great. I'm up. It's a Friday morning.
Seriously, it's great. I got my caffeine in me, finally. I woke up this morning and I was like, nope, absolutely not. The rain's not fun. I'll tell you that much, but
it's Friday, and we only have like 5 more weeks of the semester.
Exactly,
so
seriously.
It's great.
The pressure's on, though, seriously. Finals coming up and everything. It's a little stressful, but, you know.
I mean, you're graduating. What do you care?
I got different kinds of stress then, but like.
Fair enough.
No, nonetheless, we're making it happen. It's all good. But we do have some special guests in with us today. Of course, we're going to cover all our general things that we have on the show, obviously, later. But, of course, next week we do have a big student election coming up. It's Tuesday, right? I believe it's Tuesday.
Is it Tuesday and Wednesday? There's 2 days. Yeah.
Tuesday and Wednesday. Okay. So we have with us today one of the tickets. We had Activate coming the other day.
They were on the Rational last Thursday.
They were on Rational last Thursday. And we were lucky enough and privileged enough to have the other ticket with us today. This is ConnectingTU. So we have Shivan Shah, we have Ari Abramson, and Dalia Al-Batini. Yes. So guys, welcome to the show. How you guys feel this morning?
We feel great. Thank you for having us.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. This is absolutely a pleasure to be here.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. It's great.
Happy to be here.
Good stuff. It's great to have you guys, you know. So, obviously, ConnectingTU, you guys are made up of a bunch of different people from a bunch of different organizations and everything like that. I know a few of you guys are in Greek life, obviously. So, just tell us what kind of got you guys into wanting to get involved with student government. What really made you take this initiative to go into TSG and want to take the ticket and ultimately help run this student body in the coming year?
Yeah, I could start by answering that. This is Ari Abramson, by the way. So 2 years ago, my friend Ryan Rinaldi did a campaign for student government. At the time, I was on the Hillel executive board running Jewish programs around campus. And Ryan and Eric Hamilton came to Hillel to request an endorsement and have a meeting with our board one day to talk about all the things I wanted to do around campus. I was just a freshman at the time and didn't really know about Temple student government. And when they ended up winning, I got more involved in Temple student government, started going to the General Assembly meetings, and eventually this year ended up applying to be on the Student Parliament, which is a new initiative by Temple student government. Currently sit on Temple student government as the Fox School representative to the Parliament, and yeah, just went from there.
Sort of just to continue that, this is Shivan Shah, by the way. I'm the candidate for Vice President of External Affairs. Over the last few semesters, I'm a political science major, so over the last few semesters, I had a lot of internships. I interned at the DNC. I worked for a congressman on his campaign. I worked for the Democratic Party of South Jersey, and all these experiences really grew my passion for like civics and community engagement. And so, I thought there was really no better time to get involved in, my local community and like my community engagement than now. So, here I am now.
Yeah, and then as a bio major, pre-med, something I've always been passionate about is service and helping out my community and my students. I've been involved in clinical and experimental research since my freshman year, trying to figure out how to best change the medical field and what can be done to especially help cardiovascular disease, which is something that I've been working on for a while. I volunteer at hospitals like Shriners Hospital for Children with life-threatening illnesses and disabilities. So, helping out people has always been something that I've been passionate about, and I love Temple University and have had incredible experiences here. So I want to spend my senior year making sure that all students feel the same way and feel like they can belong at Temple University.
Very nice. Now, as far as it goes with your team, because you guys got a really big team in the words of Drake, you look at this, it's like, you look at absolute 14 of y'all, like 17 including y'all, but then 14 of you guys have a team together right now. Like, what did you look for with some of the people that you were trying to ultimately lead you to this path of success and everything?
Yeah, so really what we were looking for were just like the best possible people on campus, people with leadership experience, people with personalities, people we knew who would vibe well together and sort of help out building this platform and this team and contribute both to making, creating some nice ideas and things that could really benefit the student body, but also have some fun doing it at the same time. So when we were meeting with people and interviewing potential candidates for different roles on the campaign, what really shined was different people's personalities and their stories and what types of impacts people have had on campus. we have a number of OWL team leaders, we have a number of RAs, we have a number of student org presidents and people who are involved in different ways. So it's the diversity of thought and opinion that we have on the team that really makes us unique, and the different personalities that make us Connecting to You.
How long was the process of A, choosing people, and 2, like, how long did you know you were going to be running for TSG?
He's been scheming.
So I knew, I'd say a little over a year ago, that this is something I wanted to do. And for approximately 3 to 4, maybe even 5 months, we were sort of deciding who would be on the campaign team. People even joined the campaign, a couple weeks before it started. Some people have been on board for 6 months, though, so months in the planning.
And when did you choose your other people who were here right now?
Sometime around December, January-ish, like right at the end of last semester, beginning of this semester, both Shivan and Dahlia came on board.
Okay.
Very nice. So, a little bit of an introduction for you guys, get to reintroduce yourself to the people. Let's get a little bit into the nitty-gritty now. So, obviously, we did a lot of research on your campaign and everything like that, and both Activate and both Connecting both have, very distinct campaigns and everything like that. But one thing seems to be revolving around everything, and I think Taylor could touch on this a little bit more, the issue involving sexual assault on campuses. And I think that's something that has been constant throughout the whole entire basically in the past year and a half in colleges throughout the whole entire country. You think about the Insolence campaigns and everything like that. Women Organized Against Rape in Philadelphia. I mean, Taylor, I know that that's something that, like, obviously we've been talking about in the other room plenty. What do you guys want to do to implement issues involving sexual assault? Fix issues involving sexual assault?
Yeah, so that is a huge thing on campus and something that we need to make sure that we are providing resources to for our students. On February 1st, Temple University partnered with Women Organized Against Rape and developed a crisis center on campus, a little satellite office where students can call at any time 24/7 and receive support and counseling over the phone. They can also schedule to meet with a representative at anywhere they choose on campus and see what options they want to do and what resources they want to reach out to. They can get connected with Tuttleman Counseling. They can get connected with Temple Police and just see what their options are. This is something that just happened February 1st, so we want to make sure that we're working with Women Organized Against Rape to make sure that, they're increasing their outreach on campus, that our students know about this incredible resource. And so at orientation, we want to make sure that all of our students have a dialogue about sexual assault and make sure that they're aware that it's not okay on campus and that survivors have access to resources on campus with that hotline number. And also during Welcome Week, we want to make sure that we're working with Women Organized Against Rape and Tuttleman Counseling and the Wellness Center to ensure that all students know their resources, because we have incredible resources that exist on campus, and we want to work with those resources to make sure that all of our students have access.
What you're talking about, you said that's already been implemented in February, correct? Mm-hmm. Your platform says support and develop. What exactly do you want to develop to help sexual assault victims on campus?
Ultimately, a closer relationship with WAR and making sure that they have an increased presence on campus, because right now they have a satellite office, which is fantastic. Never before have we had a 24/7 hotline where students can request to meet someone anywhere on campus that they feel comfortable, and making sure that WAR have more of a presence, as Dahlia mentioned, both during Welcome Week, orientation, and make sure that students have that number in their phones in addition with the campus safety services number, just in case. You never know when something's going to happen, and you never know when your friend is going to need support. So ultimately building closer relationships with WAR and making sure that they're more on campus and have more of a voice and a presence among the Temple community.
So is there any new initiatives you want to bring to TSG, or at least as a bill?
More awareness, absolutely. And this would be in conjunction with Women Organized Against Rape. We are not experts on the matter Women Organized Against Rape are, and making sure that they have the platform to share their services and their resources with students is something that we would want to partner with them more on, and have them potentially even come to a General Assembly meeting and give a presentation and ultimately increase their presence among the student body.
Now, moving on from there, another issue that, speaking of different situations involving question marks of everything like that. We just saw yesterday Greek life on Penn State's campus just had some serious regulations hit them. I know two of you guys are in Greek life. Sheevan, I don't know if you are. Greek life as well. You're Greek life. What fraternity are you part of?
I'm in Kappa Delta Rho.
KDR? Okay, cool. So all you guys are part of Greek life. So obviously seeing any sort of implementation at other schools, that's something that indirectly but still directly affects you. Me being in fraternity myself, when we look at the situation at Penn State and how to prevent things like that, what are some things you want to do as far as it goes with fraternity and sorority life on campus to just kind of keep that going, keep that flourishing, and prevent issues like what happened at Beta Theta Pi out there at Penn State?
Yeah, we need to hold our brothers and sisters in Greek life accountable for their actions and make sure that they know that these things are absolutely not okay. We need to call out bad behavior in our Greek orgs when we see it and make sure that that's squashed immediately. We also want to support the development of Greek life on campus. It's a huge way to make connections, and it's a giant abundance of resources, both with alumni and Greek life and as well as with our new members. I think Shivan and Ari can talk more about that too.
Something we're proposing for not only Greek life but all orgs is bringing back the Adopt a Block program. It's a really good way for orgs to get involved in the community, and there's a lot of I'm sure many of you guys have been off campus before, and there's a lot of trash on the streets, and an easy way to fix that is getting orgs involved and just helping the community and getting them involved.
Yeah, and just to echo what Dahlia said, supporting the Greek community and acknowledging that the work they do to support various organizations and philanthropies. For example, Delta Phi Epsilon has a huge event in Deford every year raising money for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, making sure the Temple student government is supporting those initiatives and highlighting the impact that Greek life can have on the community.
One of you just mentioned that pretty much the garbage cans and the cleanliness around campus and relating to Greek life. However, during the first debate, I know ConnectingTU mentioned the cleanliness of Disneyland and compared it to Temple University. In relation to keeping the campus clean with many garbage cans around campus, how do you plan on funding or even implementing that initiative?
Yeah, that would be in conjunction with the Office of Sustainability and the City of Philadelphia. Ultimately, it would be a partnership between the university and Philadelphia to implement trash cans off campus. And to note the reference to Disneyland, it wasn't a mention to say that Disneyland and North Philadelphia are the same thing. It's human psychology. If you see a trash can, you're more likely to throw trash away. And I think that's important to note. People, if they have to walk 4 or 5 blocks and have to hold an apple core or orange peels, they're going to be more likely to just toss it to the side than find a proper place to dispose of it. So ultimately working with the university and Philadelphia, I know a couple years ago TSG tried to push through a similar type of initiative, and it sort of got to a halt at a certain point. And the thing about TSG is you're only in office for 1 year, and you need to be able to build, if you're not able to accomplish certain initiatives, at least build a base, a foundation for the next people in office to take over and continue that work. I just think there wasn't any continuation from when that happened, and once we got to the point where it was like, great, we need these trash cans, there weren't any more conversations. So we want to make sure that we're actively pushing for this and making sure that there are active efforts in place to reduce the amount of litter off campus.
What is your relationship with the Office of Sustainability? Have you communicated with them thus far in your campaign?
We have not been able to schedule any time with the Office of Sustainability, but we know that previous years TSG has worked with the Office of Sustainability specifically in this capacity to get trash cans off campus, and we know that this is something they would likely be favorable of as well.
One thing that was mentioned in your campaign and on your website and everything was your desire to promote inclusion of diverse student groups. When we talk about the university here at Temple University, obviously we've gone on this whole diversity university thing since like the 1970s, but statistics do show that diversity and minority groups coming to the school have dropped significantly since the 1980s. So how do you want to go about, bringing this idea of diversity back to Temple? And when you look at these diverse groups like, the Black Student Union, Queer Student Union, you could go further and further on. How do you want to help to at least implement some sort of relationship within the community here at Temple?
So first, within TSG, something that we can do is help those student orgs come to us, and we want to come to them as well, and have them talk about, what are they doing to promote diversity and inclusivity at Temple University? How can we help that? How can we facilitate that? And how can we promote their events and their amazing missions of these orgs? We want to make sure that we're working with them to allow them to promote those initiatives as well. And one of the things that currently exists in TSG is Student Organization of the Week, in which we highlight a student org that is doing great things for the community, as well as students on campus, and working to promote those organizations and support them is something that we want to do on TSG.
Yeah, and another thing, we want these organizations to be able to use TSG as a platform for building relationships and connecting with one another. A lot of organizations have similar problems, whether it's membership retention or getting members interested in executive board positions. So what we want to do is invite leadership of different organizations to a Temple Student Government retreat or a workshop and have a space for them to build both relationships with one another and to troubleshoot similar problems that they might be having and work towards learning from one another and different issues that we've had. Because even though, we do have 466 student organizations on campus, all different missions and different groups that they appeal to, we do face similar issues within those organizations. And if there were a platform for us to discuss and collaborate a little bit more, who knows what the impact that could have on the student organization experience.
So we got to go to a quick break, actually, real quick. Just realized we're running up against it. When we come back here on the Wake Up Call, we're going to continue our interview with, of course, ConnectingTU. Back on the Wake Up Call right here, WHIP, Philly's #1 college radio station. Hey, you guys want to call in? Go right ahead. 215-204-9447. That's 215-204-WHIP. I can promise you that's the easiest number you'll ever get in college. And don't forget to follow us on social media at WHIP Radio. That's WHIP RADIO. Back with our special guests here, ConnectingTU, Dahlia Shivan, and of course, Ari. Got a lot of stuff to talk about. Obviously, election coming up Tuesday. Lots of stress. You're telling us during the break, how much sleep have you guys gotten this week? Is my biggest question combined.
I've been sleeping. I've been doing good.
Well, good for you. Good stuff. Yeah.
Well.
I'm surprised.
I haven't gotten as much. I had 3 essays due this week, so definitely safe to say, try to get naps, quick power naps, during the day. But yeah,
I mean, it is the home stretch of the semester. I'm surprised.
Yeah, seriously.
You're okay.
The combo of everything, and Ari over here looks like you're running on fumes a little bit, bro.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's all good. But obviously, you guys are coming down the home stretch here with everything coming up Tuesday. Just want to make sure everything's in order, and it seems like so far everything's been going all right. Obviously, going back into your platform and everything like that, one thing, and you could even consider this to be a part-time job at this point, right? Mm-hmm. One thing you guys mentioned in your platform is the accessibility of part-time student employment. I feel like a lot of us have been employed on campus here, for our little work studies things and whatever. My question is, though, how would you like to expand this? Because we think about the little IT jobs and going into post-production down at Annenberg Hall. Sorry, the Luke Hines School of Media and Communication as of yesterday.
There we go.
New name. It's crazy. All the new change. And but now we look at some of the other organizations that basically do serve almost like a part-time job. I mean, we think about the student media outlets, Temple News, WHIP, things like that. How do you want to expand the part-time employment for students here on campus?
Sure, and that's a great question. So college obviously has a ton of expenses, and it's important that students can get a job so they can offset these expenses. So I'm not sure if you've ever visited the career portal through to your portal, but it's kind of an archaic website. And it has a few jobs listed, but what we want to do is we want to make the website more intuitive, so make it easier for students to apply to jobs. If they need to contact someone, all the information is there, and the application process is just a little bit smoother. And we want to include more jobs. For example, if Honeygrow is hiring, we want to make it so that jobs that are in the area but not necessarily affiliated with Temple are also listed on this, because these are jobs as well, and that students should definitely be able to work there and know if places around here are hiring.
Do you, by any chance, know the percentage of people who do work on campus, students specifically?
No, I couldn't tell you the exact number of students that work on campus, but I'm sure that there are a huge amount, whether they're doing internships or work studies or any sort of jobs involvement around here or in the center city.
I should note that there is a large misconception often that a lot of the jobs are work study. You need to have work study credit in order to work part-time on campus. Personally, I've worked for the school for the past 3 years that I've been here, all part-time, never used work study. And it's important for students to know that if you don't have work study, but you still need a part-time job to support yourself through college, there are options out there for you.
In addition to the website, is there any other ways to increase accessibility?
Potentially having more publicity on campus, and maybe if there was like a centralized job board or posting in the student center, that could increase accessibility. But as we're sort of moving to an era where everything is online and there needs to be social media and centralized pages, making sure that there is a central location that students can say, hey, if I need a job, I'm going to go there. That's what we want to build, and we want it to be an easy and intuitive way for students to find employment opportunities.
Okay. We did talk about a lot of diversity earlier in the show, but specifically I want to talk about the LGBTQIA community. I know that on your platform...
It's all good. It's early.
Let's try again. So, I understand that on your platform, you want gender-inclusive facilities and you advocate for that. That's correct, right?
Right.
Right. Can you elaborate how you want to advocate for that that's not gender-neutral bathrooms, since it's already being implemented around campus?
Well, so with all new buildings, gender-neutral bathrooms will be implemented. However, there are buildings like Anderson and Gladfelter, for example, that don't have these gender-neutral bathrooms for all students to feel safe and welcome to use whichever bathroom they choose. So we want to work with the administration to make sure that existing buildings also have those resources and gender-neutral facilities and bathrooms. So that's one of the things that we want to do. And then to also be better allies with the LGBTQIA plus community, we want to make sure that all TSG offices and officers are Safe Zone certified. Now, I understand that's not going to eliminate all bigotry, but we can hope that this is a step in the right direction and that we advocate for having an inclusive and diverse group in our space and eliminate all negativity, and bigotry in that space and office in TSG next year. It's not welcome. It's not something we're going to stand for on campus either. That's one of the things. Then Ari, you wanted to add on?
Yeah, so something that TSG's done this past year was they've started to create some task forces. One of them, which I know is in use, is the Accessibility Task Force, where they go around campus and sort of determine places that could be made more accessible for people with disabilities, etc. So what we want to do is we want to create a task force for the LGBTQIA plus community where students who are involved and are passionate, want to influence change around campus, can have a platform through TSG to come and discuss how we can better supply people who are either questioning their sexual or gender identities with resources or services that they might need. And that can include leaders from student organizations specifically focused on LGBTQIA plus programming, potentially representatives from the Wellness Resource Center, the Ideal Office, administration, and a group that can come together and influence real change around the university. Something that has been mentioned is there needs to be more centralized resources for the LGBTQIA plus community. You have great offices running great programs, like I mentioned, the Ideal Office and the Wellness Resource Center, one of which is all the way up on Broad near Diamond, and the other is in the basement of Minton Hall. But for a student who might be new to campus and potentially wants to seek out those services, it could be hard to locate. So how can we focus on getting them out there more, getting them to the bell tower more, using TSG as a way to partner and promote those services, and ultimately share those programs and making sure students know about them.
Among your Excuse me, let me try again. Among your administration, usually it's better for people who are Safe Zone trained. Is that something that you're thinking about?
Yeah, that's Dahlia just mentioned that. So we want every single TSG officer, anyone who sits on the executive board, to get Safe Zone certification. I know they're revamping the Safe Zone certification program currently. And when I went through it 2 years ago, I personally learned so much about how to create an inclusive environment and have certain conversations and be respectful towards everyone, regardless of background or identity. And I want every single person on Temple student government to have that same experience.
And one thing that's always kind of helpful to have as well, and I'd say extremely helpful to have, we have a great counseling service here at Temple University. I mean, you look at Temple Counseling Services. Unfortunately, not many people know about it. It's kind of like an underground kind of thing. It's almost like one of those like speakeasy, like if you're in the know, then you totally know exactly what's going on with Temple Counseling Services. I have a lot of friends that use the resources. What do you want to do to help put that out there to make sure that those that need that kind of self-help or any sort of thing like that can get out there and actually have more access to this great counseling service that we have here at Temple University?
Yeah, well, Titleman Counseling is a great counseling service for all of our students, and we want to make sure that we're working with them to promote the services that they provide, but we also want to work to expand Titleman. So there is usually a 6 to 7 week waiting period to get an appointment if you can't make it into walk-in hours. Walk-in hours are also very limited. They go until 1:30 p.m., I believe, during the week. And students have class, students have internships, it's hard to get in. And then with the 6 to 7 week waiting period, students who need immediate assistance or counseling can't get it for a while. And it's just, we want to work to expand either the hours or the amount of counselors in Titleman and make it a bigger service for our students. It's really important that we have that resource for everyone on campus and that they feel that it's accessible to them.
And another resource that even more students don't know about is the Psychological Services Center that's run by doctorate students who study psychology at Temple University right on 15th and Cecil B. Moore. It's right above the 7-Eleven there, and the difference is that it's not a free service for students. Students do have to pay to use the service, but it's one of those pay-as-you-go services or pay as you're able to. And students are automatically charged the lowest rate for any appointments, and that's more of an intimate, traditional counseling center. Some students don't feel comfortable going to Tottleman Counseling Center and feel like it isn't a resource that they can use, and as Dahlia mentioned, sometimes they can't even access it. So they can use the center here at 15th and Cecil that's run by Temple University students as a resource as well.
Who have you been in contact with the Tottleman Counseling Services as so far to expand it, which is a part of your platform?
We have not been in touch with anyone specifically from Tottleman Counseling Center. We haven't been able to set up an appointment, but what we have done is looked at work that past TSG administration have done. For example, David Lopez, who was the TSG president, I believe 4 years ago, successfully worked with the administration and Tottleman Counseling Services to expand. And I know Tottleman Counseling Services is in a period of transition where they're moving out of their current space and into 1700 North Broad. So we also have to wait and see what impact that has. And as we know, it is an initiative for the administration to expand and promote more, hiring more counselors to be working with students and decreasing that initial 6 to 7 week wait time. So a lot of it is, during this transition period, waiting and seeing, what the university does and making sure that it's at the forefront of the issues of the need of the student body.
I'm still talking about contacting certain orgs for things on your platform. I know at the first debate you said that you were planning on meeting with the e-board of the Queer People of Color. Have you done that yet?
Yes, we had a meeting with them the other night.
And what did you discuss, and did you come to any resolutions or agree on any plans?
Yeah, so something that was we talked about was ultimately having a platform for them to have their voices heard. Something that was acknowledged was, as the leaders of Temple student government, we're expected to be the voice to administration of 40,000 students, and a lot of times, we each have our own individual struggles that we go through, and of the 40,000 students, everyone, different backgrounds, have different struggles and issues, and we can't possibly understand or know what every single person goes through. And that's the beauty of having all those different student organizations, is that, they serve as support and they have programs specifically for a community, and so they are ultimately the best voices for their people. And so what we talked about was, how can we use TSG as a platform? And something I talked about was creating that task force for the LGBTQI plus community, where leaders from QPOC, whether it be people on the executive board or general members, can come and have a discussion and talk about the real impact that we can have on this campus, and talk about what we feasibly can be doing to support that community.
If you were to be elected, how long would you think it would take to create that task force and then implement it?
Immediately. We can start having discussions immediately. Likely wouldn't be until the fall semester, just because if we were to get elected, we'd be hiring an executive board throughout April, get inducted sort of at the end of April, and then in May, school is pretty much over. So that's, as soon as the first week of school in the fall, we'd want to start having those conversations. Like, as I mentioned, we only have a year. We want to do as much as possible in that 1 year. So we need to start having those conversations immediately.
Well, we're running up against it yet again here on a wake-up call. When we get back from the break, we're going to finish up our interview with ConnectingTU. Back on the wake-up call, WHIP, Philly's #1 college radio station. E. White, Taylor Allen with you up until 11 o'clock. Along with us for the ride up until 10 o'clock, though, we got the ConnectingTU crew, Dahlia, Sheevan, and, of course, Ari.
It's been a good run, I gotta say.
It's been fun. Yeah, seriously, absolutely. So, of course, we're running up against it with your guys' time. Obviously, you guys got places to be, people to see, and, that, and the third, and whatever it might be. But, of course, one thing we have to address, and I think it goes without saying, again, Temple University is in the middle of a massive, massive community with the amount of history in this community, like the ups and the downs. This was once one of the most, highly wealthy areas in Philadelphia, and then once the factories moved out, immediately just back down to earth back in the 1930s. And we've seen this, consistent kind of question mark of what is going on in North Philadelphia since then. And then Temple University comes in and everybody's like, oh, well, it's revitalized and everything like that. But in reality, what we're looking at is a rift between the community and this campus. And I think the one thing that we're looking at is we need to address those issues, correct? So what are the biggest issues? I mean, of course, we could talk about the football stadium all we want. We don't know if that's going to happen or not. Obviously, you know, the president, obviously, Richard Angler, is a little bit of a different mindset than Neil Theobald. So we don't know where that's going to go in the time being. But as far as it goes, with the exception of the stadium, what is the biggest issue creating this rift between the community and, of course, the university?
Sure. And so myself and Ryan Frischella, he's the deputy campaign manager for our campaign.
I might know him. Yeah. Yeah.
We actually went to a town watch meeting hosted by the Philadelphia Police. Officer Shana Moore, she's the director of community relations for the 22nd District of the Philadelphia Police. She was present. She was hosting the meeting. There's also the director of the director of community engagement, was also present from the DA's office. And there are a few members of our community also present at this meeting. So we had a lot of good dialogue, you know, what their concerns are, what they would like to see moving forward. And something that they mentioned is that parking is a huge problem for them. And so something we would like to do, hopefully, is we want to work with the administration. You know, there's so many empty parking lots here at Temple University. You know, I live in Temple Towers, and right behind me is a parking lot that's entirely empty all throughout the week. So something that I would like to hopefully do is work with the administration to, you know, create a program where there's like a subsidized parking pass for students. So this would hopefully incentivize them to park on campus as opposed to where they live currently. And this would make it easier for them, or this is a safer system and, you know, easier system than parking where they do currently off campus. And this would hopefully free up spots for the residents of our community who need to, you know, get to job, you know, drop their kids off somewhere, wherever they may need to go. You know, they need easy access to their cars. So hopefully this will, you know, get them just that. Did you guys want to add on anything?
Yeah, and then something else with the community and our students and our administration is the stadium. You know, we need more transparency when it comes to that, and it's our responsibility in TSG to call on the administration and the Board of Trustees to make sure that this process is transparent. You know, we haven't heard anything for months about what the plans are of the stadium, what research has come of it, what are the impacts of the community that will be positive, what are the impacts that will be negative. You know, we need to know so that we can make a better decision and include everyone in that discussion.
Sorry.
Sure. Just one thing that's kind of a hot button issue is recovery and substance abuse, especially with, you know, the opioid epidemic in Pennsylvania and even college. I know on your platform you talked about, you know, accessibility to certain resources for students with recovery. How do you plan on it? What do you want to do for them? What kind of services do you want to offer?
Yeah, and a lot of times we hear medical amnesty, and there's a new initiative, like, it was put in place a couple years ago called Don't Stall, Just Call. Medical amnesty does fall under that, and ultimately support for people who might be addicted to alcohol or something of the sort. But not a lot do we hear about for people who might be addicted to other substances, whether it's heroin or other hard drugs, and making sure that Temple has an equal amount of attention towards helping people who might be addicted to those substances as well as alcohol. And that's, you know, again, working with Tuttleman, with Wellness Resource Center, promoting them more on campus and ensuring students know about those initiatives. And like I mentioned earlier, I do sit on the Parliament, Temple Student Government Parliament, as the Fox School representative. And one of my fellow representatives, George Basile, is putting a resolution through to create a housing option for recovering addicts. And that is something that we would want to push as well. This would be sort of anonymous in the sense that you wouldn't know where the housing is, but students who would want to sign up for it would be given more information and have access to a safe community where they can be with other people that might have similar struggles or similar issues, and they'll be able to live and thrive in that environment.
You may not have this information because you are not George Basile, but do you know if there's already been talks with other organizations who are actually also pushing for Temple to have recovery housing?
Not positive.
Okay.
We haven't discussed this resolution on the floor yet of Parliament. This Monday we will.
Okay.
Fair enough. Hey, well, then we will wait till then for that. But as far as it goes, going from obviously something as serious as substance abuse, and obviously, you know, so many families have been affected by it and everything like that. Something definitely lighter on the scale of things, but at the same time still weighing heavy on the backs of college students. Of course, financial aid, financial situations, student loans, and everything like that. You mentioned that you want to improve the financial aid process. Now, as far as it goes with that, the process itself is kind of confusing, but at the same time, it's an issue where you have to kind of educate yourself more or less. So how do you plan on improving the financial literacy of students here at Temple?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we want to work with Student Financial Services. We would be the first TSG office to actually do so, to work and alleviate those student concerns that a lot of students have. You know, people feel that financial aid isn't really accessible because it's just such a convoluted process. It's hard to get in there, and people don't necessarily even know where it is. It's a mystery for a lot of students. So it's something that we want to work with Student Financial Services to improve that process for our students, and also what's the word I'm looking for? Introduce programming to promote financial literacy. So wouldn't it be great if all students could graduate knowing, how to file taxes or fill out a W-9? Because, as a bio major, I don't learn that in my courses. And a lot of students feel the same way and don't have those, the finance background or the economics or the business kind of stuff. So we want to work with Student Financial Services to get some programming out there for student orgs. They can have someone from Student Financial Services come out and give some talks and some lessons about financial literacy, because it would be amazing if all of our owls could graduate and walk at graduation with some knowledge of financial, of how to manage their finances under their belt. So that's something that we want to do.
And something that TSG has done previously, I know the last administration did this, was actually ran a program for students about financial planning and financial literacy, because a big issue in society is just that we're not really prepared. We're not taught in schools how to prepare for the adult world in regards to finances and saving for retirement and all of these things. And our campaign really is all about building connections. And something that we want to acknowledge is that there are student organizations. I mean, I know specifically in Fox that handle, specifically for finance majors, whether that's the Investment Association, the Financial Planning Association, and groups that TSG could partner with to run those programs. So whether if we're running them with Student Financial Services or with other student organizations that literally study how to, plan financially, that would be something that we'd want to do in office next year.
Excuse me. How do you plan on increasing the relationship between the community and Temple students specifically? Not exactly just like campus student body, but really how to make it a better relationship between the two groups.
Sure. And, shout out to Campus Safety Services. They do a great job, currently maintaining a good relationship that we have with our community. And it's important that we do maintain a good relationship with them. It's something that came out earlier, I think a few minutes ago, was that, Temple and this community are one and the same. We really have to take pride in where we are, and most students do. So something we want to do is remind students of the Good Neighbor Initiative. It's something that's probably mentioned at freshman orientation, but most students are moving off campus. Their sophomore, junior, senior year. So as they move off campus, we want to make sure they're keeping this in mind that they might live next to families. They're living. We live in a community where it's not just Temple students, and we want to remind them of that. Something else we want to do. We want to create a system where there's a student block captain. Currently, there are block captains, and if we were to create student block captains, they would sort of be in charge. They would have to respond to the block captains that are members of our community, and we would hope that this would create a dynamic relationship between the student body and the community as well. If there are any concerns, these two people, the block captain, the student block captain, would have to work with each other to hopefully, mention any concerns that they have, and whatever they want to talk about, anything's voiced. And we would hope that it would create a good relationship between the two groups.
And then kind of just going off that, unless Ari, you wanted to add something real quick?
Well, I just wanted to add something quick. Another thing is one of the biggest concerns of the community is the amount of trash that's off campus. A lot of that is contributed to by the student body of Temple University. So the various initiatives we have in place to both put trash cans off campus and to reform the Adopt a Block program, we'd hope to alleviate a lot of the trash that we're seeing off campus, which again would make North Philadelphia a more enjoyable place to live for everybody.
And then something else that I also wanted to add on to that, I was actually recently at a town hall forum hosted by Temple Student Government that invited members of the community as well as students to come and discuss how we can improve community relations. And a lot of what was discussed was just respect. Respect between the community and the students and vice versa. And something that we need to do to make sure that our students are mindful of the community we live in and the families that live on our streets, and how we can work together to create a better community, is making sure that we have students coming out to these town hall meetings. We need to make sure that students are invested in the community they live in and that they care about the people that they live with. So we want to make sure that before we get more of these town hall meetings, that we actually get people showing up to the town hall meetings that TSG does have. And we want to make sure that we're incentivizing that student orgs come out to these meetings and student leaders come out and get involved and start to care about the community that we live in as well and care more for it.
All right, now this is a question I have to ask. I understand during the first debate that you claimed to have spoken to Jen Lawrence, the president of QSU, to discuss LGBTQIA needs in Temple student government. Lawrence since then released a statement stating that was false. Do you wish to comment?
Yeah, and I've since spoken to Jen about this, and I should preface this by saying when I reached out to Jen, it was because when I was building the platform for this campaign with my team, I acknowledged that I can't possibly understand the needs of every single student group on campus, and I wanted to get a better understanding personally of the different issues that and needs of the LGBTQI plus community on campus. So I reached out to Jennifer Lawrence to just get a better understanding of, as someone who's in that community and leads a group of students in that community, what they want. We had a great conversation about the HIV testing services that's offered on campus and different programs that Queer Student Union runs and what she would hope to see on behalf of her group happen at Temple, and this wasn't by no means in any way related to campaigning. It was just a way for me personally to understand the LGBTQI plus community and what potentially see what we could do in office next year for that without explicitly talking about campaigning or anything of related such.
We've been hitting you guys with some heaters for most of the day, but let's end it on a little bit of a lighter note. Philadelphia is just such an awesome city. I grew up here, I'm born and raised, but more and more we see plenty of students coming in from different states, different countries. Even just from being from the suburbs, it's I've never really been to Philly. I wonder what it's like. So something like that. And one thing I'm seeing more and more of is people want to go out into the city, go to these different events and everything like that. And we're broke college students. How do you want to make these, more available and more affordable for these kids to be able to do these things throughout the city? Because it's just so great and there's so many different things you can do.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Philly has a ton of resources, and we actually acknowledge that in our platform. We mentioned the PEX Passport. It's something that was created by the Gen Ed program here, and it offers discounted rates or even free rates for students for various institutions across the city. So something we want to do is expand this. There are already a ton of institutions listed on this. We want to continue dialogue with other institutions that aren't listed, and see if they can offer discount rates or even free admission to whatever resource they have to offer. Like you said, Philadelphia has so much to offer, whether it be for pure enjoyment, academic resources, and to get the most out of our Temple experience, we really need to get access to these the best we can.
And there is one more resource in addition to the Gen Ed, the PEX Passport, Philly Connections, which is a resource by Student Activities where they often post discounts to sports games or other entertainment in the city. It doesn't make sense for there to be competing initiatives, where there's discount entertainment for this type of genre events, this type. There should be one centralized location online for students to be able to go and see what they have access to if they want to go out on a Sunday, have fun in the city. As Temple prides itself as being Philadelphia's university, it would really contribute into helping students get more into the city and have access to discounted entertainment.
All right, a question for all of you. Very simple. How do you describe your Temple experience so far?
Temple's been amazing. I really couldn't ask for more out of it. I've had so many opportunities here, and it's really Temple's location that seals the deal for me. Being in Philadelphia, there's just so much to offer. And, it's a big part of our platform that being Temple students, getting the most we can out of our Temple experience is being able to, get the most we can from the city as well.
Yeah, I've gone through a lot, and I've done a lot so far at Temple in my 3 years here, both getting involved with political organizations and religious organizations and Greek life and professional organizations, and I've been able to see myself grow throughout these 3 years and utilize the resources that are available to me, build connections, make some of the best friends that I could have ever asked for, all while, seeing things through different lenses, and the different organizations that I'm a part of have given me different perspectives and meet people that are different from me, and to hear conflicting opinions opinions and to challenge, thoughts that I had before coming to college. And Temple has provided me with a space to really explore those thoughts in my head and think, maybe all these people think this and I think this. Where is there the common ground? And being able to watch myself grow and develop new opinions, I'm forever thankful for Temple for providing me with that experience.
Yeah, and Temple University has really allowed me to push my boundaries. I wasn't into sports, I wasn't into football, but I love Temple sports now and everything about it. And
Good reason too. Yeah, seriously.
So that's something that I've done. It's pushed me to go abroad, study abroad in Spain. It was something I never thought I would do. I love home and my family. Didn't think I'd leave for 6 weeks, but I'm so happy I did. It's really allowed me to be involved in my community, volunteering at Shriners or various medical clinics in North Philadelphia, making sure that, I'm mindful of my community as well. It's pushed me to go out of my comfort zone, and it's pushed me to become a better person, I think, and a much happier person as well.
One last question before we get you guys out of here. I need to know about the dog, man. Like Romeo, absolutely adorable. I see your director of communications, Alexa Monteleone, with that dog all the time, and I love the thing. Is he like your mascot at this point, or what's the deal?
Yeah, might as well be, right? I mean, I think her roommate Deja is actually taking care of the dog temporarily, so the dog's sort of been lifting our spirits, giving a little, at the end of the day when we're doing one of our debriefs, talking about how the day's going, a little bit of stress, a little bit of tired, but then the dog comes in wagging its tail. So absolutely unofficial mascot.
That's wonderful. You guys can follow ConnectingTU at ConnectingTU, no underscores, no dots, no nothing, on Twitter and Instagram. You can also check out their page on Facebook as well, and also at their website, which is ConnectingTU.com. And you can find their platform at ConnectingTU.com/platform. Guys, thanks so much for joining us, and good luck on Tuesday.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for
It's been a
having us.
pleasure.